Hey everybody, what's up? Yeah, I'm kind of live on location, if you will, kind of recording this on location. Here in the Modesto region, if you will. But I thought, because I have some time on my hands right now, hopefully, I'd talk about situations going on in TNA, especially two storylines that some people, like say the Brad Rules here on YouTube as well as a few others, feel is being dragged out a little too long. These two storylines that I'm talking about are Bully Ray, Joseph Park Abyss, and AJ, Daniels, Kazarian, Clara, Dixie. Well, the reason, in my opinion, they're dragging these out is because they want to make the matchup that they're working on for Bound for Glory to be all that meaningful. They want the payoff to be just as important. An example would be right now in the Sonic the Hedgehog comic books, which many of you have probably seen videos of me talking about through audio, on camera, or hidden behind the camera and an object being in front of it. But basically, the entire situation with that is, right now the head writer of the comic book has this story arc that he's been working on since initially since the 230th issue. And by working on it since the 230th issue, he plans on basically continuing it for another year. Now, so far we're 8 issues into the situation, but then again, when you add in the tie-ins that it has to the spin-off comic, then you almost got a year's worth of story right there, if not a little over that. Now, the one thing people have been having, the one problem a lot of people have is patience with it, because they want to know, how much longer is this whole situation going to be dragged out until they get an eventual payoff, that the head writer is promising. Well, if you look at the main comic, you got about a year, and then you add in any tie-ins, maybe a little over a year. The thing is, folks, the same goes for, TNA right now, for Impact Wrestling. You got these two storylines that a lot of people feel have been dragged out way too long, that need to have a payoff, but TNA wants to make sure the payoff is big enough because they want the payoff to be at Bound for Glory. Think of it this way. You could have Bully Ray right now be obviously in the top leaderboard for the BFG series, but he's not. He's not in the top leaderboard. You could have AJ on top of the leaderboard. You could have Daniels in the mix, big time, besides the 7 points that he has. The point I'm trying to make is the reason these guys aren't, in the mix right now, the absolute top or mid mix of this BFG series, is because they're being saved for other things at Bound for Glory. See, the payoff will be Bound for Glory with both these storylines. Now, I know you're thinking, well, we've just seen AJ and Daniels in Last Man Standing. What more of a payoff do we need? Well, the scenario with AJ and Daniels and Clara and Kaz and Dixie is the fact that you're probably going to see one more Daniels-AJ match, if not a 3-way dance at Bound for Glory. Another scenario is the Clara Lynch deal. You may think I'm crazy here, But why all of a sudden have her turn against AJ? Unless, storyline wise, you have Daniels paying somebody off by using AJ's blood to be DNA sample, to be the sample of being the baby's father. I mean, why would you have her suddenly turn against them? Unless the whole fiasco with the makeup, with the whole thing with the baby deal is nothing but a cover-up. Think about it. You could, storyline-wise, you could have someone like Daniels and Cass pay off a makeup artist to add poundage to Clara to make it look like she's pregnant. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, because it looks like she is, but I'm not saying that's the case. Now, another scenario, as much as people may not like to hear it, is we may end up having something that many people may not want to see. And what I'm talking about is we may end up having, as a payoff, a mixed tag team match. That's right. You're either going to have another Daniels AJ match, a three-way, AJ Kazarian, or in my opinion, one of the more likely scenarios, a mixed tag match where you're going to have on one side AJ and Dixie, and on the other side you're going to have Clara and Daniels, if Clara is not pregnant and it's all just padding, if you know what I mean. You know, makeup, padding, poundage, whatever you want to call it. The point I'm trying to make is you're going to have one of these scenarios. And the top scenarios I look at is you're going to have either Daniels and AJ one more time, or you're going to have a mixed tag. Whether it involves Clara or someone she's going to bring in, doesn't matter. The point is, those are the two top scenarios, two top payoffs I think TNA's heading for, or wants to head for going into Bound for Glory. Now again, the whole situation with possibly Daniels paying off a doctor to use AJ's blood to be the DNA as proof of being the father's baby, then, you know, hey, if they want to do that, that's fine. But the truth is, there's a payoff coming, and it's going to be at Bound for Glory. I know some of you don't want to hear those two top payoff matches that could be, but in my opinion, I think that's what we're heading for. Now, as far as Abyss, Joseph Parks, Bully Ray situation, like I said, you could have someone like Bully Ray with the momentum he has right now. You could have him in the mix at the top or in the middle of that BFG series right now, but you don't. And here's why: because TNA has plans for Bully and Abyss, Joseph Parks. And here's what I'm saying. Last night on Impact, Joseph went into what many people considered a trance and suddenly became his brother, if you will, by giving Bully Ray a black hole slam and then doing the rocking like his brother does. Now, the only scenario, one of the guys I subscribe to, the Brad Rules, said that he feels they might do something of an amnesia deal. That might with Abyss, thinking he's Joseph, but in fact he's starting to remember that he's Abyss. But then again, you could also do the split personality deal. In other words, sort of do what TNA attempted to do with Black Reign, with Dustin Rhodes. You remember that situation? A lot of people consider it the worst gimmick TNA's ever come up with. But still, what did they do? You had Dustin show up, and then all of a sudden, here's Black Reign. And you knew both were the same person, but both didn't know it. So don't be surprised if they start going in that direction. Well, Bully Ray's like, you know what? I've gone to psychiatrists, I've talked to some people, and the conclusion we've all come up with is Joseph Park and Abyss are one and the same, and Abyss has developed some kind of split personality thanks to me beating the shit out of him, or whatever you want to call it. That's what I feel is going to happen. That's what I feel will happen. They might just do that. And you're probably wondering what exactly is going to be the payoff match if this is all being built towards Bound for Glory. Well, I'll tell you what the payoff match is going to be. It's a match that we have not seen in TNA in a couple of years. In fact, it's a match that we have not seen since about 2007, 2008. Yeah, you're probably thinking the same thing, aren't you? The match I'm talking about, because they've had Monsters Ball matches. They've had Monster Ball matches with the Joseph Park character. We've had 2 hardcore anything goes matches. So the last scenario would be Barbed Wire Massacre. That's right, Barbed Wire Massacre. Think about it. Think about it. The way TNA is building this thing, whether people like it or not, and the way that, as some people say, dragging it on, TNA, the way they're doing this, they're building towards something like to a payoff match like Barbed Wire Massacre. That's why they keep, as Brad Wolf puts it, they keep dragging it on, or they keep building on it, because they're building towards a Barbed Wire Massacre match. That's what I feel is going to happen. Maybe I'm wrong, but the way TNA is putting more time into this, just like they're doing with AJ's situation, is because they got it's the payoff match they probably want at Bound for Glory is Barbed Wire Massacre. It's Barbed Wire Massacre. So that's what I'm thinking. That's why they're building this up. That's why they're doing it, to build towards Barbed Wire Massacre. Now you might ask yourself, why would they want to build towards Barbed Wire Massacre? Why would they want to build towards that? Because one, here's the thing, with Abyss, you need to have a special opponent to build towards Barbed Wire Massacre. It's a rival that is good enough to do a Barbed Wire Massacre match that is willing to put his body through hell. And they got that with Judas Messias. They got that in the first one with Sabu. So they probably found someone. They probably found another in Bully Ray. I mean, think about it. Now, look at it this way, folks. They could have easily ended this situation a long time ago. They could have done it. They could have ended it at Slammiversary, even ended it against all odds, but they didn't. They've been building and building on it, and the payoff is going to be Bound for Glory, and the payoff is going to be Barbed Wire Massacre. I guarantee it. You may think I'm wrong and I'm exaggerating, and that's okay. You have a right to your opinion on that. But to me, I feel Barbed Wire Massacre is the Barbed Wire Massacre match is going to be the payoff match that they're heading for towards Bound for Glory. So, to recap, to recap these 2 feuds and why they keep being dragged on and built upon, one is both are going to have payoffs at Bound for Glory. The first one, AJ's situation, is either going to have AJ's and Daniels one more time, or is going to be a mixed tag match with AJ and Dixie facing either Clara if she's not pregnant and it's all makeup and padding, or somebody representing Clara against Daniels or Kaz as or whatever in a mixed tag, with the other scenario also being a 3-way dance. And then as far as Abyss and Bully Ray go, the build up towards it, and the reason that some people complain it's continuing being dragged on, is the payoff, in my opinion, is going to be a Barbed Wire Massacre match at Bound for Glory. So, That is why, in my opinion, these storylines, these feuds are still continuing on in TNA, with especially these two feuds and storylines. Why they're continuing on? Why they're still being built upon by TNA? Because of the payoff. The payoff being Bound for Glory. You got to realize this: not many wrestling companies do this anymore. Whether we like the storyline or not, they always want to have something that's been built up for over a year to pay off very soon. So, and with two feuds in this case, then there's no doubt they've got something in their minds that's going to be a big enough payoff for both TNA and for TNA itself, but for all parties involved. So that's all I'm going to say on this situation. I'm sorry for the silent mode right there for a little bit. I had somebody walk by and everything and in the background. So, but that's all I'm going to say on that. So comment down below, tell me what you guys think. Video response if you like, and give me your opinions. Tell me what you guys think. Do you agree with my theories on that? On why these two feuds in TNA are continuing? Give me your thoughts, and I'll talk to you later.